So Long a Letter, written by Marima Ba. Produced by Dan Miller, Keegan Frick, Tyler Mauser, and myself, Whitney Batchelder. For Marima Ba, polygamy and the fight for women's rights was not just something she wrote about. This novel is a semi-autobiographical based on her real-life experience. She was raised where the novel takes place, in Dakar, Senegal. She became an author, a teacher, a mother of 9 children, and later in her life, an active feminist. She was raised by her 2 simple-minded Muslim grandparents who believed that women did not need an education. She, however, overcame this and ended up furthering her education and graduating with a teaching degree. The purpose of her novel, So Long a Letter, was to express her feelings and struggle towards the treatment of women and the differences between sexes within African traditions. Ba grew up during a time where feminist movements were going on all around the world. She married 3 times in her life, never truly loving any of her husbands. Some may say it was because of her stormy personality, but also for her expectations and beliefs that women should partake in higher roles within society than these men allowed of her. Even though this novel is not exactly true in regard to her life, it does explain her feelings about society where men have all the power, where women are looked upon as unequal, where polygamy takes place, and the involvement of Islamic culture as well as cultural beliefs within African traditions.
Throughout So Long a Letter, the author Marima Ba, through her personal experiences of growing up in Senegal, portrays women's discourse as limited through the oppression in a patriarchal society. In So Long a Letter, Ba shows the reader difficulties of women that have a desire to work. During these times, women could pick from only a few professions. Teaching, for example, was typically a woman's job. On the other hand, if a woman desired to be in the National Assembly in Senegal, then she got laughed at publicly. On page 63, Mr. Dieng is conversing with Miss Ratatouille and bluntly states, "But you women, you're all like mortar shells. You demolish, you destroy. Imagine a large number of women in the assembly. Why, everything would explode, go up in flames." This quote relates to today's society. The Institute of Education Sciences says that in 2012, some 76% of public school teachers were female. Even in our own government, there are significantly less women than men. Out of the 535 members of Congress, women make up 104 of them.
The Muslim traditions, that of which Marima Ba practiced as well as showed in the novel, may be difficult to understand at times. The Quran, their holy book, quotes, "Marry of the women who seem good to you, 2 or 3 or 4, and if ye fear that ye cannot do justice to so many, then one only, or the captives that your right hand possess." This explains that Muslim males can have up to 4 wives, however, he must be able to support them. Another defining quote within the Quran states, "Maybe his Lord, if he divorce you, will give him in your place wives better than you, submissive, faithful, obedient, penitent, adorers, fasters, widows, and virgins." Meaning, divorce is an option for the men if their wife is disobedient. Therefore, a man can go through as many wives as he would like, but can only be married to 4 at a time. From these quotes, we can get a better grasp on why there is polygamy surrounding the novel, as well as other traditions that may not seem familiar to some.
She talks about school admissions and costs, among other things, and the indirect references come from her descriptions of different characters and situations. Education is a critical factor in Senegal's move towards modernity, or modernization, but traditional values and newer values make it difficult for Senegal to progress as a whole. Traditional values place more of an emphasis on superficial things like money that would boost an individual's social status. Bala illustrates this with Benetou's removal from school to marry Modou. The monetary incentive for Benetou to marry Modou was too great for Benetou's mother to not capitalize on the opportunity. Statistically speaking, more rural regions and regions that practice Islamic education do not believe it is important for women to receive education. Ba shows the negative stigma associated with women receiving education by the quote, "School turns our girls into devils who lure our men away from the right path." Newer values that stem from the easier access to education only worsen the overall economic situation in Senegal. Anyone that received the slightest bit of book learning deemed traditional or vocational training as degrading. As a result, forges, workshops, and other traditional labor sources were abandoned. Although this negatively affected the economy, Ba claims in the novel that this result was necessary for the modernization of Senegal. Primary and secondary schools proliferated across Senegal, albeit a mediocre rate of increase. Ba states that access to these new schools, however, did not become any easier. Current statistics, however, show access to primary school is quite high, with 72% of males and 74% of females enrolled. As education levels increase, on the other hand, enrollment rate of females decreases. Most females drop out to work in society or are already mothers. There has been an effort to rectify the literacy rates of women in Senegal from both the Senegal government and the international community. In 2012, the Senegalese government and United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization launched the Girls and Women's Literacy in Senegal program. The program targeted 40,000 young girls and women, and the objectives were to improve quality literacy programs, improve efficiency and effectiveness of training programs for teachers, and improve professional and economic opportunities for girls and women.
With no regards to past lovers. In the story, Tamzir completely disregards Rama's feelings by wishing to wed her even though he is friends with her recently deceased husband. On page 60, Rama states, "You forgot that I have a heart, a mind, that I am not an object to be passed from hand to hand. You don't know what marriage means to me. It is an act of faith and of love, the total surrender of oneself to the person one has chosen and who has chosen you. I emphasize the word chosen." She also states, "I shall never be the one to complete your collection. My house shall never be for you the Kavate oasis, no extra burden, my turn every day, cleanliness and luxury, abundance and calm, no Tamzir." These quotes show her oppression to the past culture of Senegal. Rama is standing up for her family and showing her transition to a modern and equal society. Can be hesitant to leave if they have children. One polygamous woman explained that while she was deciding whether or not to divorce from her husband, who had just married his second wife, her daughter's grades began to drop because she thought that her parents were not going to be with each other anymore. She explained that divorce can have a huge effect on children, so she decided to stay with her husband in the end. The female in the interview still had the option to leave her husband, but chose not to, so her daughter could maintain proficiency in schooling. When comparing this to what Ba wrote throughout her story, one would agree that in modern Senegal, women have had much more of a say when it comes to their polygamous view and beliefs, but the traditional values have not changed much. Rama's statement to Tamzir showed the same equality as the female in the interview.
Her rationalization that he is the son of a princess and she is from the forges reflects traditional values that limit societal progress. Also, Benitu's forced marriage to Modu. Benitu's mother had values so based on tradition that she forced her own daughter to quit school and marry a man with a lot of money, all just to raise to the bourgeoisie class and reap the benefits of her daughter's newfound money. It seems a deeper look at the societal tendencies of women, as illustrated by Ba, shows that Senegalese women perpetuate their own oppression. At the same time, the women of Senegal provide consistency and hold the foundation for which modernization can take place, which was seen in Ramatoule's support of her family after Modu left them, and she supported her 12 kids as well as managed the finances for the whole family as Modu proceeded to spend a lot of money on his new wife.